Welcome to kcheebplays, Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic. Let's get started. Alenka was relaxing on the patio, enjoying her morning coffee. In Frankfurt, this time of year would not typically be patio time, but it had been unseasonably warm. This currently made the patio an inviting place to be. She let out a long sigh and thought to herself, I wonder how Trimagnata is doing. She'd spoken with Uliov and Clarence a few times. They'd both said everything was fine, but she wondered. She was not finding it easy to let her lifelong passion fade into memories. Just then, Christoph opened the patio door and said, Are you ready to go, love? It would be nice to get there early and miss the long lines. She looked back over her shoulder. Just finishing my coffee. Won't be 5 minutes. She sighed again and thought, more old buildings. Oleg marched into the meeting room and dropped a folder on the table. He closed the door behind him and sat down. Now, gentlemen, let's get you started on your first real project, he announced. Uliov was clearly gritting his teeth. He and Oleg had butted heads a few times, and being the president, Oleg won more often than not. Oleg made sure of that. Uliov relaxed his jaw and said, Looking forward to it. He hoped there was at least a modicum of sincerity in his voice. Clarence, somewhat oblivious to the tension, said, Yes, me as well. I've had enough of all this paper shuffling and report generation. What's the plan? Oleg smiled at Clarence and said, In due time. First, there will be a lot of travel over the course of this project. Can you both handle it? Clarence quickly replied, I love travel. Just tell me when and where. Uliov, clearly thinking about Ludmila and Galina, said, Travel should not be a problem, as long as it's balanced with enough time home. He knew he came close to Oleg's tolerance line, but had learned over the last few months where it was. Very well, Oleg said. Glad you're both committed. We do have options. Right, on with it. We've acquired the rights to large deposits of coal and iron in the Rote Bucht area. We can set up a large processing area to generate more steel than most of Tress will ever need, which means we can export by excess, the excess by ship in sizable quantities. I'm not ruling out air transport at this time, but we'll see. Oleg continued, If you two do a good enough job, we should be able to tap into a reasonable reserve of oil, but that's far into the future. We're sending you out to create a small settlement that we can leverage for the construction of the rest of the area. You can do the initial planning from Mayadzol, but I expect there will be a number of site trips for recon and planning, not to mention once construction begins. Here's the folio. He pushed it across the table, directly at Uliov. Thank you, Uliov said, gritting his teeth again. We'll get started right away. Hi, Cheeb here. Long time no talk to. Welcome to my playthrough, or my Let's Play, of Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic. I'm using the map called Rote Bucht. Please correct my pronunciation if it's wrong, because I'm pretty sure it's nowhere near right. This is a map I found on the workshop by Amr Forik. I think that's the way it's pronounced, but again, correct me if I'm wrong. It's a beautiful map, very nice layout. The resources are plentiful, but you still have to work for them and deal with it. But yeah, it's one that I found and just went, this will be a fun map to play on. So that said, I want to show you the settings that I've got going, and I have to figure. There we go, game settings. So I've set it for all the hardest difficulties except for the starting money. This is the first time I'm playing in realistic mode. It's the first time I'm playing with water and sewage, and I just didn't feel like giving myself that much of a challenge. It's going to be enough for me to manage what I need to manage, and given some advice that I got in terms of having to micromanage when you do start with the million, and not wanting to give Leaky an opportunity to give me the gears about how many loans I've taken, I decided to go with 3.5 million. Just to give myself a bit of a safety net, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to make a mistake or two along the way. But that's all about gaming. You do what you do, and then you make it better. So anyway, that's the setup. Always day. Even when I played on my own before YouTube, I was always day. I have a hard time seeing, and I know what it's like on YouTube. If I'm having a hard time seeing it on my screen, it's going to be even harder for you guys. I'm not sure why it is for me. I know I don't have too much trouble with Ulikis. It does from time to time, but anyway, enough. No need to belabor that point. All set up hard, and it's going to be a challenge. We can have a quick peek at the map here. Don't worry, I won't go on too long with all of this. The map comes with lots of roads. You can do with that what you will. I think I will use the roads until they don't suit my needs or my wants. Until that point, I'll be making use of the infrastructure that's provided on that map, this map. So, quick peek at where the resources are. Coal and iron, fairly plentiful. A little bit of work to get to some oil, especially where we're going to be starting, which I'll be touching on shortly. A little bit of uranium and a little bit of bauxite as well. So all in tougher places to get to, either having to get across water or around mountains and that kind of thing. So our starting position, we've got border posts along, 3 of them along this side, actually 4 of them along this side, and I've settled on this one because I thought it was decent in terms of not setting me up for failure. We've got coal here that we can definitely make use of, and we've also got some iron right around the corner, which is where I'm going. Steel. You may wonder why. Steel, everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, a lot of people talk about why, steel is an easy way out in terms of making money, and to a certain degree it can be, but it does require a fair amount of investment to get it working and up and running. Not only the mines, but all the processing that has to happen. And I just thought, if we start with coal, which we will be, we'll be able to provide the coal for some needed industries, namely, electricity, power, obviously, and heating, as well as potentially bricks and everything down that whole construction material line that requires the coal. So it's not too far out of reach, not a huge money maker, but something you can both sides of the balance sheet deal with in terms of taking care of expenses and getting a little bit of income from that to begin with. But it's not going to be, again, right off the get-go. Why don't I pop over to where I'm going to be starting and give you a quick 50-cent tour here. I'll get this out of the way. So what I'm picturing is a city up in this area, and potentially some heat and electricity up this way, and this is all going to be farming area with the industries that require the grain, namely fabric, clothing, food, and alcohol. And what my plan is to build this. Oh, sorry. You notice I'm in pause mode because it's very important to save yourself as much time in realistic mode off the start as you can, because you just don't want to be wasting it's an inflation thing, right? If you don't buy it today, it'll be more expensive tomorrow, guaranteed. So you get everything planned out, and then start running with your construction. Anyway, so this will be the farming side up until somewhere in this range here where the city will start. It won't need to be a very, very large city. Most of the things that I'm going to be doing or building will be smaller scale buildings to start with. Just as Oleg advised, it's going to be something that's going to primarily fuel the construction industries for when we get down this way to our coal and then ultimately iron in this area, and potentially set up. I haven't decided exactly. I've done no playthroughs ahead of time on this map. I like to just dive in and run with it. Try to hit the curveballs that are thrown me. So my ultimate goal, and it's something that I don't do, I can't say that I've ever done. I mean, I've made some larger cities, but in terms of making a megalopolis, if you let me use that term, I haven't done a really, really large city. And having watched a lot of the Leaky's playthroughs, I'm really intrigued with the way that you have to make things work in terms of all of the infrastructure for a city that's going to be, potentially 40 or 50,000 people. Maybe not quite that much, 30 or 40, maybe something like that. But there's plenty of land here. There's room in behind. We could even go over to the other side in terms of getting. Sorry, I'll stop using in terms of. It's you start using phrases and they just stick with you and they happen. So at any rate, more potential farmland here. Build some trains to run stuff around. Have some purpose-built rail, that kind of thing, that can get us the grain once we get up to a size where we have to start seriously looking at how we're going to be providing for the citizens' needs. I'm also planning an export, because that was Oleg's demand, was that we export every ton of steel that we can, that we don't need for our own or most of Trust's uses. So yes, somewhere along here will be, and possibly here. Again, we'll decide when we get there, but it'll be in this area, this here where the harbor's going to be to do our exports. I did briefly talk about airplane exports, and it's not something I've done before either. So it could be quite interesting to see if I can get to that point and make it work in a reasonable manner. So anyway, I think I've rambled on long enough for that. I've given you the where I'd like to go. Why I'm doing this, because I have fun doing it first and foremost. There's really no, if you're not having fun doing it, why would you continue to do it? And I am having fun. It's a lot of fun. I made some good friends, and I really enjoy playing this game. So that said, let's have a peek at where we need to make everything happen. Gonna have to figure out where I want the city to start and end, and I think a lot of that's going to be based off of where I can get fields in, because I'm going to want to get as many fields down this way as I can, because I need to export as much of the consumer goods as I can. That's going to be what's going to stabilize the economy to begin with. So giving myself an opportunity to do that is important. Let me have a peek at the grid to see if I've got this even remotely lined up. And it's not, obviously. There we are. Okay. Just because we happen to be on the grid here, which is somewhat fortunate in terms of being able to, there you go again, being able to line this up. And yeah. Not the end of the world. Actually, I think I care more about this line and having it somewhat lined up that direction. More so than less so. Leave myself some space because I don't want to crowd the power situation. And these may or may not be where they end up. Sorry. Which buttons am I supposed to be using again? There we go. Okay, so there's 2. And that's probably about the limit for the width of this. This, again, I could probably squeeze something in there and, build the 16 or 18 or however many. Actually, I think it's 18 fields, 9 aside that way. Yeah, I think that'll be fine. So these are just sort of measurement marker kinds of things. So if I consider this the I don't know, I'm not even sure which direction this would be, potentially west, the western side. Let's have a peek and see if I can make this work. I don't know how long we'll be using this road, but it's going to be my marker to begin with anyway. Actually, I think I might turn the snap on. I don't use it that often, and now I have to remember what it is. Snap to grid. Is it F4? No. 2. What have I done? What have I forgotten? You don't play for a couple of weeks, and you don't remember. Okay. There we are. This one right here. Wireframe. Now we're stuck to it. Cool. Okay. So city from this direction out this way. And now I'm starting to question myself. Do I want to have the city on this side of the construction office? Maybe it's a better idea to have the construction offices on this side. And I know that'll put a little bit more stress on this road in terms of how far they have to travel and whatnot. But it will mean that they don't have to drive through the city to get out here once we start constructing things this direction. So maybe it's a better idea to build the city on this side and through here. Maybe I should give myself a little better idea of exactly how many people I'm going to need. Now you can certainly scale this one, but is this going to be the main food area? No, it's not. It's not even close, honestly. The plans would be to have another area set up with another set of farms in another part of the map to provide more of that. This is just not big enough. It's big enough to supply what we need. So to what I said earlier about going with some smaller sized, less expensive kinds of things, it's probably best to look at something like that. Now this is going to be way too small. Yeah. Maybe not. Certainly don't. I want to have a little bit of headroom for, yeah, and chemicals. I don't think that's a great idea. This might be a reasonable one, actually. So if that's 90 max workers, and let's see our alcohol. This is 100 workers. That's micro is a little too tiny. And that's a little too large. Winery. Kalinka might get on board with that. 30, sorry, back to the 100 is the, yeah. 50, half size, 0.5 per work day. And 6. No, that's. I'm looking for something in the 3 range, not 0.3. 2.3, that's close. Those are all going to be the same. 8.5. Whoa. That seems a little OP, doesn't it? 8.5 tons for 85 workers and 100 for 6. Sorry, the brain's working overtime. I'm going to need a little sip of some Uli juice here. Just give me a sec. Love the coffee. Let me check. I know I get in the habit of using this, and I know that not all of the mods show up down there. Perhaps I should use this because I know all of them will show up. I just have to find what I'm looking for. And I promise we will at some point hit play. Here, I just need to get my head around exactly what I'm doing. And I don't know if you're interested in some of my random thoughts and things that pop into my head, but you're kind of stuck with it, so there you go. How's that for some sympathy for you? Alcohol. Why am I having a hard time finding that? Okay, we'll go through like this. I am reading these to myself. Factories. I don't think it, oh, it is too. Okay. And it looks like perhaps all of the brewing type ones or alcohol type ones are identified or listed in the alcohol. Yeah, there's the bakeries and the breweries. Those that would be kind of interesting to do. 2 of those. Just not sure that that's enough alcohol for exports, although that might be. If I pair those up from a food making perspective, food and alcohol, that'd be kind of cool. And yeah, the livestock farms and all the rest of that, that's something that we'll we'll have to address in the future. So, whoops, wrong button. Yeah, I think it makes more sense to have my construction industries out here once we get past the initial stages. I know at first we don't want to have. How big a deal is that going to be? I think there's more than enough space here for the construction industries. I'm not sure that I have enough space. And when we're getting materials from the border, that's something that they'll be driving through town anyway. Well, just run with it. I think I'm going to go. And as soon as I start making a decision, the indecision kicks in. Okay. Let's start plonking here. And I'm going to do my usual start with the main infrastructure stuff first. And then see where I can get the houses in. We're going to want a central bus station as well. Now, okay, let me get that sorted because that'll be kind of a hub, won't it? Or a bus station platform. Platform would be better for sure. Yeah, I'd like to have one that has one on the roads that were 90 degrees to each other. That way you can kind of control a little bit more traffic situation. Not quite. Yeah, not a trolley bus. Oh, bus and train. I don't think so, no. Not that there's anything wrong with that, just not for my needs at this point in time. For some reason, I thought there was one that had... Perhaps not. I think I just have to make a decision again. I'm having a hard time with the decisions here today. I'm really not being very decisive. It has been some time, like I said, since I played. It's kind of an interesting look. Same on both sides. Want it central. Or the other option is to do something like this and then out the other way. If I do it smart, which isn't necessarily a forte, let's get that locked in there again. There we go. Smart in terms, stop it. Smart for being central to the city and close walking distance wise. I think that's a better option, and close to where we want to go for some of the factories that will potentially be in this area or up in this area. And this road runs up through that way. Not that we're going to have much. There's potential to have up in here some of the food processing stuff. Definitely possibility. So here we are. I'm 24 minutes in and I have a bus station down. And 2 placeholder fields. So, yeah, let's hope the rest of the series doesn't go like that. Okay. 1 down. Need to know where that's going to go, but we'll get there. Okay. Back to state infrastructure. Hospital. Very important. But I think I need to pay attention to some food first. Now, from what I looked at with those smaller buildings, I'm thinking 1,500 people is more than enough to supply workers for construction. Construction and the 4 facilities that we're going to need to start with. The potential will be there to need 300 or 400 more once we get up into the coal area. But that's not for a little while yet. I think a small shopping center should be able to handle this. And again, I'm probably making a fatal flaw. But I honestly don't see this being more than that. Small shopping center, and we're going to want a meat storage. Just another benefit that I thought of while I was doing this is that our drop-offs for our consumer goods is going to be very, very close to the border, which is where we'll be starting picking things up. So I think that's an important consideration. and that's blocking the rail that we will need at some point. So many things. Shouldn't be too hard as long as I don't crowd it this westerly direction to come around the back and annoy all of the residents with the clackety-clack of trains. Okay, come on, get on with it. Pub, nope. How do I want this to work? I want it to work well. Be a little more specific, please. Just trying to have one road for the food and the meat. Let's try that. And where are we at here? Your storage for meat is not nearly big enough. One ton of meat is just not good. I will be looking for food. Here we are here. If we import 75 tons of meat, we're not an agrarian society, are we? We won't need 75 tons of meat. Need a fairly small, 4, that's not. 16 is a more reasonable number. And I think I can make that work like this. But I will have to turn that off. Leaving myself space. I've left myself space for road here, but I can also go 2 if I get to the point of doubling that up, which I'm not convinced I need yet, but I would normally, for this type of setup, have a road cargo station, but I'm not on unlimited funds at this point, so I don't know that I will. Because I don't know for sure where that's got to go. There we go. Give that a nice gentle bend. I suspect I'm going to have a road going this direction connecting up here that this, the bus can tap into if we end up doing anything with other pieces of infrastructure that need the excuse me, that need the road or the bus depot for people. Okay, one down. Food. We have food. And clothing and alcohol. Oh no, sorry, not alcohol. And electronics. Okay, focus. Residential we will get to. Pubs, 1,500 people. Certainly, it's like Moe's Tavern. It's a little bit undersized, I think, for our needs. This looks like it might be a reasonable option. Time for some coffee. And if this is central to our residential layout, having the those don't need to connect. How much alcohol can you keep? Wooden canteen, right? 5 tons, yeah, more than enough. If this is central to the whole city, then having your pub there so everyone can get to it is a pretty good idea. Excuse me. Yeah, it doesn't matter, does it? Sorry, I should explain what I mean by it doesn't matter. I was thinking that I could flip, if I teed that, my footpaths would be on the other side, but they're not going to be. But if I give myself a little bit of space, I can easily get one through the gap between the meat storage and here. All right. Let me have a peek here to see where I think maybe we're going to put another road. Lock that in place. Wasn't there a TV show that had that as a saying? Lock your answer in. Move this down here for the time being. Get that there and here. Okay. Those are big enough segments. We will be gravelizing. Thanks for that word, Kaya. Gravelizing the all of these roads. I don't, toughing it out with dirt is just painful. And in the beginning, gravel, it really isn't expensive. Okay, so liking the start of that. I'm thinking most things through. Haven't made any mistake. Just don't say it. Okay, we're at alcohol. We don't need any of that. We will need culture, guaranteed. What kind of culture do we need? Well, as much as I'd like to put the amphitheater back in, I don't think a city that's purpose-built like this would have much use for an amphitheater. Pool hall might be a little bit more on those lines. You could argue whether you think it's culture or not. But again, having this, I think having that close there is a decent idea. Okay, we're running with it. Okay, it did go in. I looked when I zoomed up and it didn't show. I was a little concerned. Sport. This is always one. I mean, it's pool. Everyone, winter, summer, and I did do one of the cities that I built. I did do the tennis, football. Summer, and then there was a hockey rink that was also available that works in winter. It's in sport, but it has an attraction score, so I'm not sure that it's actually classified that way. So I don't know that a sporting need would be met. And how many times do you want to build Palace of Sports? That's 30 tons of steel, 8.5 for an indoor pool. I think at this point, again, given the nature of what we're building this city for, I think that's probably not a bad call. Going with the pool, I mean, or the Palace of Sport. I still. What did I select? Am I losing it? Could very well be. I thought I picked the Palace. Excuse me. Palace of Sports Dynamo. That's not what that says. Svetloparsk indoor pool. I think, forgetting my own decision making, I think the reason I went with that, let me just experiment with this, was because of the cost of the amount of steel, which I'm pretty sure, man, I'm all over the place, aren't I? See, and that has an attraction score as well. Yeah, that's the building I chose for sure. And if we look at this, in the sport world. Yeah, that was 8.5 tons of steel versus 30 tons of steel. Definitely. Yes, that was the decision that was made. Okay, so we're hooked up for residents needs, if you will. Okay, let's get on with this. Hospital. Don't like messing around with the hospital, especially when we're importing immigrants. Something that's definitely important, and everyone's going to need to get to it. Hospital's important. Needs to be as central as we can get it, in my mind. Fire station, that can go a little bit more on the outskirts of town. Doesn't have to be central. Our kindergarten and schools, I will, for a city of this size, I really don't mind this this school. And I think it can fit here nicely. Everyone's going to be more than able to travel, to walk to school. Once I get my residences in, I will put in the kindergartens that are needed. And I think at some point I'm going to try the orphanages after reading Forzion's post on Kaya's channel about orphanages and how they've been sorted out now. I've just stayed away from them because I had nothing but the same bad experiences that a lot of people had. Forzion typically knows what's happening, and I definitely want to try it if it's going to give us some of the give us back some of the things that we've invested it in, i.e. people. 40 minutes getting near the end here, and I've broken my first promise. I'm sure that I'm not going to be able to hit play just yet. So talk, and university. We will need a university. We can't educate our people if we don't have universities, period. Small technical college, that's been a go-to. This one doesn't even require steel. For 100 students, 10 and 12, 15 and 20. Interesting. Seems a little bit easy, honestly. I don't know that I would call that a university. Do we need anything elaborate? That looks cool. I might build that in another city. This one has worked for us in the past, over and over and over again. So why are you going to use it again? We can definitely control the number of people here that are working and the students that are coming, so. Get too crowded there. University a little bit more on the edge. You see, I'm trying to build a little bit of a corridor through here, which is where the main walking area is going to be. Gets them to, here around. Gives them access to where they need to be. Doing a lot of talking and explaining and not much building. Sorry. Crime and justice. Don't know that I need to worry about that now. Didn't even really need to worry about that. Why don't I get on? Because the police and the crime and justice can fit just about anywhere. I mean, I could sneak one on each side of this road without too much issue at all. And another little coffee break here. Okay. Let's get some residences going here. Saying 1,500, right? 120 workers. I'm looking, yeah, the 85%. Let me look at this list, because I missed so many really good buildings that I could have been using that I didn't. I wish there was just a little better sort or search feature in here for those buildings. Chris Brammer's Fjordskas. Last map I played, I started with those, so I will be using them at some point, just not right off the get-go. 93% and 161 workers. What does that look like? Looks a little elaborate for 15 tons of steel compared to, what are we seeing here? 179, 7.5. Yeah, it's almost looking like we're going to be starting with 2,000. Yeah, let's just plunk that one building down and then call it a day. Not so much. It'd be a long ways off with the 100. That's a lot of trips. Okay, what am I trying to do? Where am I going? Get your act together, buddy. 92%. I can deal with that. A lot of prefabs. Not that they're expensive, it's just the delivery time. Yeah, that's not. I think our best bet, or my best bet, is going to be these buildings here. So if we say just shy of 200, well, 189 per, I'm gonna need 7, 8 of these buildings. I think that sounds about right. Easily get a couple in here. Want to jam that too much in there. If I tee that, yeah, then our footpaths line up. So that's 4. Get down that direction too far for rail situations. Yeah, that's as close as we want to get. We can't go any further that way from there. If I get 4 more along here, I don't know if I'm fussing this too much or not enough. Probably too much. Not that I really fuss that much about it. So there's our 8 buildings. That should be around, let's see. Yeah, that should get us right around our 1,500. It's fairly central. Yeah, I think that works. I think that works well. Let's get. I'm going to set up our construction offices. We're going to be starting with the free ones. And I think I want them over on this side with the storages on this side, or maybe in behind. Let's zoom that in. Now I'm starting to question myself here. I think it's probably better that I go on this side, because I don't want to mess with potential expansion and whatever else, because what I wanted to have was storages for each of these across. Yeah. Okay. Let's go back to our construction office. And we'll do that right here. Some storages. Okay. Storage is free. Love me some free. Give a little bit of space. Just so that more than one vehicle can be lined up there, waiting. Distribution offices. The distribution offices can go over here as well. Don't think that's a big deal. Actually, it might even be wiser to have them a little bit closer. And what I might do for them, I've done this a couple of times on my own, not on an actual playthrough per se. Distribution offices. Now I've got to get my brain going again. Okay, distribution free. So what am I going to need for distribution offices? Initially, it's really just keeping these filled. Yeah. So I can get, I can't remember how many vehicles, 3, and I've got 4, so we'll probably want 2 of them here. Brain, get to work. Distribution. Okay, there we go. Okay, so what I was saying was give them their own entrance, because that way, whenever they need to go, they can always be front of line instead of getting in the queue with 5, 6, 7 other vehicles that are trying to get something from the border. So it's important to have, in my mind, it's important to have those access for them. So, okay. We're to 51 minutes, and you can tell that I'm a little bit anxious about getting started. I'm quite hesitant about making a mistake. I think I got a reasonable layout. I'm not going to make you sit through much more of this watching me do this. We'll pick it up in the next episode. Again, thank you very much for spending some time with me. I appreciate that. Have yourself a great day, and we will catch you in the next one. Cheers.